least we'll be able to do more.
Reactions by the army perhaps leave the issues hanging in the balance, but the undeterred group maintains that it will release more reports, hoping for better action by the government. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the Defense Headquarters has denied allegations leveled against them by Amnesty International, describing it as false and intended to tarnish the image of the Nigerian military. In a statement signed by the Army spokesperson, Brigadier General Rabi Abubakar, the Army says, quote, "Without minds and words, the allegations contained in the said report are not only inconceivable, but also have no place in the Nigerian military," end of quote. It also says, quote, "Inasmuch as the Nigerian military acknowledges and respects the views and constructive criticisms of individuals, groups, or even international organizations, including Amnesty International, it will not fall for nor accept this deliberate falsehood," end of quote. The Army was accused by the Global Rights Watch, Amnesty International, of allegedly killing 240 persons in Borno State and 177 agitators of the indigenous people of Biafra. The Nigerian Stock Exchange has hosted the biggest gathering of stakeholders and top government officials today to deliberate on the sovereign green bonds being promoted by the Ministry of Environment. The Nigerian Stock Exchange played host to Nigeria's acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, the Lagos State Governor, Akinwumi Ambode, the Ogun State Governor, Ibikunle Amosun, Ministers of Environment and Finance, as well as the Director General Debt Management Office at the Green Bonds Capital Market and Investors Conference. The theme of the summit was Green Bonds, Investing in Nigeria's Sustainable Development. Our channel's business editor, Bosin Omofaye, was at the summit, and he joins us live in the studios to tell us more about that. You're welcome to the program, Bosin.
Thank you, Papa.
So what is the Green Bond all about, and what is the essence of the summit?
The Green Bonds is a fallout of the various initiatives to have a better world, a better environment, powered by clean energy. So it's all about making sure that we tap into the global funds, around $200 billion already out there. About $80 billion bonds have been issued between China, the US, and a few other countries. So this will keep Nigeria part of our obligations to the COP21 agreements, that we are in line with making sure the environment is clean, that we have sustainable form of providing energy that power our dams, that power our homes, our businesses, street lights, railways, and what have you.
Now, the Vice President was at the event. What was his view on the green bonds, and what's the major takeaway from the summit?
Well, the takeaway of the Vice President or the Acting President was in line with the Ministry of Environment, that look, we need to roll out this special investment vehicle for the first time. And again, it's good to say that this is the first time in emerging markets and in Africa that any country in Africa is floating on a green bond. Not even South Africa has any. So Nigeria is making a very good lead as far as this was concerned. But again, what does the Nigerian government want? We will need to fund a number of energy initiatives that will take us away from dirty energy or fossil fuel into a clean energy. And the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, spoke a little bit of to what those projects would look like moving forward. They'll be in different phases, but this is the first phase of it, which these bonds will address, making sure you have street lights that are powered not through generators or diesel power generators or what you call, but via solar. You have street lights, you have boreholes and whatever that will use sustainable energy to power. And all this will be a pipeline of projects, that's what it's called, that will help Nigeria reduce our carbon footprint and then make sure the environment is healthier and we can begin to breathe better and live longer, perhaps.
So how is the green bond going to work? How will it be traded? How will it be listed?
Now, this is an international market product, as it were. Although you're going to have local insurance firms, pension funds, mutual funds, and whatever buying into these bonds when they are tied to specific projects as time goes on. It will come at particular interest to those who are buying into it. We'll get all those details when we see the full guidelines, the prospectus, the offer. This is going to come out in March, and we're just almost there, taking this in the first quarter of the new year. We'll have those details as time goes on. But this is something that international investors are excited about. Moody's investors rating will be there. They are rating this to be sure this is okay. Taking it to the stock exchange with the debt office, make sure that there's transparency, there's accountability behind it.
So how soon can we expect to start feeling the effect on climate change?
Of course, once investors buy into the bond, the funds come in, they begin to apply them to the various projects, of which the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, says we're looking at 30% energy mix by the year 2030. It looks very ambitious, but he says it is achievable, that we can achieve a 30%, that means we have 70% to cover. So if we do 30% between now and 2030, that's big enough. If we can begin to clean up the environment, it all goes back to a lot of the issues with the Ogoni land and the Niger Delta and all the opportunities that we have in the north, Katsina, Kaduna, the rest of them, where we can have solar energy to power households, to power hospitals, midwife homes, nurseries, and things and places like that. That will help make life easy for the people at the bottom of the pyramid, while we focus the main energy on powering industries, at least for now.
Our channel's business editor, Bosun Omofaye, thank you so much for joining us on
pleasure.
Africa.
Thank you.
A major milestone for the global trading system has been reached after the first multilateral agreement of the World Trade Organization came into force yesterday. The organization obtained the two-thirds acceptance of the agreement from its 164 members needed to bring the trade facilitation agreement into force.
I received ratifications from Rwanda, Oman, Chad, and Jordan. And that brings the total number of ratifications to 112. Now, this means that we have crossed the required legal threshold of two-thirds of the WTO membership. Now, therefore, I'm very happy to announce that the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement has now entered into force. The Trade Facilitation Agreement is the biggest reform of global trade this century. So it sends a message about the power of trade to support jobs and growth around the world in developed and in developing countries alike.
Still to come on Network Africa.